get to what the people want to talk about, man. Let's get to the orange and blue. The New York Knicks, 48 wins, 2 wins shy of the Eastern Conference Finals. How do you reflect on the season, man? And what do you think about the season as we've had some time to reflect on this thing?
Preseason prediction was 40 and 42, or like 39 and 43 was my preseason prediction.
Yeah.
That ultimately is, I thought we would get a play-in tournament berth, and I thought it was potential to make the playoffs from it. That's where I kind of stood for a majority of the season through the winning streaks and the losing streaks, because Lord knows the Knicks go on a 7-game winning streak. How do they respond in December? 5-game losing streak right after it. And for a majority of the year, man, the only consistent part of this Knicks team was their inconsistency. Now, for the first couple of months, they are dead last in the NBA in opponents' 3-point percentage. And that was because when you have Evan Fournier, and that's when Derrick Rose was a part of the rotation too, you have, let's be honest, quite frank, guys that cannot stop their own shadow on defense in today's game are getting broken down. Then you have to help, and you're just giving up wide open threes. As a result, the Knicks are dead last in the NBA at giving up 3-point percentage to their opponents. Then Thibodeau decides, you know what? Okay, this is going to get fixed now. He goes to the kids, which so many Knicks fans have been clamoring for years. But at last, we get Grimes coming back when he was injured. Quickly, minutes go through the roof. Obi Toppin, granted, still to this day, not the best defender in the world, but it was Isaiah Hartenstein, and just a focus on clogging up the holes in the dam. And what happened from there was, I think, what all Knicks fans have been begging for these past 2 seasons, and knew what the potential was, that you run Grimes and McBride, and at the very least, you'll get stops and allow the kids to get out into transition where Obi thrives. And it just started happening. Yeah. But at the same time, all of that good stuff happens for 3-4 games in a row against the Rockets and the Pistons. You got Julius Randle's career high 3-pointers on his birthday in Detroit. And then they go on national television against Kevin Durant in the Brooklyn Nets, or Joel Embiid in the 76ers, and they regress back to blowing it in the final minutes because we're asking Julius Randle to make an impossible shot. It's like 4 seconds left on the shot clock. He's going to his weak side right hand step back fadeaway that goes over your television screen from behind the backboard. He loves it. But right when we rely on that stuff so many times, the Knicks had trouble closing out games against good teams in the regular season. So I'm fighting this. The Knicks are good. We're just the same old Knicks. And every time I say the Knicks are good, I'm a Knicks homer that just can't see anything wrong. When I say we're the same old Knicks, I'm Knicks for clicks. And I'm just one of those doomers that just almost likes the Knicks being bad. The different factions of Knicks fans that are out there. So it just depends which group is going to hate me for that week. But ultimately, we get to the end of the season, the Knicks figure it out. And I didn't lose a second or minute of sleep after that Miami Heat series, because I felt like we emptied the clip with everything that we are capable of. The Miami Heat defense put us in a position that Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle were going to have to be prime Michael Jordan to beat us 4 out of 7 times. Jalen Brunson was twice, and Julius Randle, to his credit, a half a game in a game there, and carried the team when Jalen went to the bench at the beginning of the series. So everyone kind of did their part. And I'm sitting here saying, well, it feels like we're more talented. We're deeper, but we're giving up open threes again. And we are in these close games that we have traditionally struggled to close out because we don't have Kevin Durant. We don't have Steph Curry. We have Jalen. He's damn good. And it's pretty clear that he can be the guy moving forward to close out a playoff game. But you're going up against such like nuclear star power in terms of coaching and opposing superstars. It's just a long-winded way of me getting to my point and asking you back, can we win an NBA championship with Jalen Brunson as the go-to guy as an alpha and Julius Randle being his sidekick? It's not that Julius Randle's a bad player, man. I just don't know if the way that he plays the game is complementary or supplemental to Jalen's. So I don't know what the answer is, honestly, but it does feel like we have a ceiling until RJ Barrett decides to be the best player on the team. And I don't know when that's going to come.
Yeah, I don't see them competing for it with Julius. Jalen's fine. I thought watching him, I was very impressed to see him being able to maneuver and still operate against a very, very stingy Miami Heat defense. Also loved just the way he carried himself the entire season, just mentally being a leader, not letting adversity get to him, not being too high, not being too low. He has a perfect mental makeup to survive here in New York, and that's what you have to do, especially when you're dealing with such high expectations. But Julius, I just don't see it. He's a very talented player. In the regular season, his offensive bag, I say it's almost like a Dollar Tree version of Melo at times, the way he's able to make tough shots. He's a tough shot shooter. But in the playoffs, when those shots don't fall, you have to be able to counter. And for him, I just don't feel like he can impact the game enough if he's not scoring. And so that, number one, has to be on Tibbs. They've got to devise an offense, man. They got to devise an offense. Look at what the Nuggets are doing. Look at what the Heat are doing. Forget Jokic and his brilliance. Look at how the Heat are running their offense. We need an offense that is predicated on ball movement and body movement. For several years since Tibbs has been here, they've been hovering around the bottom of the league in all passing categories. You name it, from traditional to advanced. They don't move it well enough. Now, they were able to get by in the regular season because Brunson and Randall in isolation were problems. They were they were both in the top 10 in most double teams in the league, right? They took care of the ball, especially Brunson leading that way. Knicks were very low in turnovers. They got after it on the offensive glass. Mitchell Robinson helping them clean up all the bricks, so they got second chance opportunities. You had Quickly's brilliance off the bench, Josh Hart coming in cleaning up things. So they were able to still maintain a top 5 offense in the NBA because they were doing all those things. But what happens in the playoffs when you can't win the hustle stats or when your threes aren't falling? They just didn't have enough, to me, to get around a tough Miami team. And so, where they go from here is gonna be tricky because now the expectations are through the roof. Now the fans are gonna expect not just to make the playoffs, but to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? We made it to the second round now. So that's the bar. So where they go, it's gonna be tricky, man. And a lot of fans want to trade Julius, but my whole thing is that, Julius trade is not easy. It's not easy. A lot of fans feel like, well, it's addition by subtraction. You get more complementary pieces. You bring Porzingis in here and off you go. I don't think it's that easy.
So let's talk about action items. Of course, first order of business going into the offseason. Can we all agree consensus? Re-signing Josh Hart, number one?
He's here. Breast milk and all. He's already established himself.
Yeah,
he's chilling, feet up.
I have never been so proud of someone wearing the number 3 before. Just the embodiment of John Starks, blue-collar Knicks basketball.
That's right.
I don't know where we would be without him. And I can't believe, despite losing our draft pick for him and just making the second round, I'm still like 2 thumbs up on that trade because what he brought on the glass, his defense, his timely shot making is something this team desperately needed. And they don't get to where they're at now with the opportunity against Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat unless it's for Josh Hart's presence. First to the floor, 50-50 balls, all the hustle stats that you can look up on NBA.com. Like, Josh, man, I know those don't go into the traditional box score or discourse on Twitter when people are talking about bags. But, man, you need a player like Josh Hart on your team if you want to be the championship contender that we're discussing. And I do agree with you that our ceiling is still very much the second round. And what's the opposite of Nikola Jokic passing out of a double team? It's probably Julius Randle. They set double teams to Randle. This ball soars into the 4th row.
Yeah, right,
They're going to have to get courtside fans at the Garden to sign waivers because someone's going to get knocked unconscious by one of these Julius Randle passes that gets airmailed. And it's just so inaccurate. And it's always late. He waits too long to throw it. He's a damn fine scorer. He'll do there might be another situation for him in which, just being removed from the Knicks will make him even better. The same way some players, for example, Kyle Lowry in Toronto gets Kawhi Leonard in there, and we see the best version of Kyle Lowry ever. Dwayne Wade gets LeBron James in Miami, and then the Robin, Dwayne Wade, becomes the best version of Dwayne Wade in his career when he doesn't have to be the man. So by him moving to another situation in which he might be the man or is surrounded by those supplementary pieces, he still very much has value. He is an all-star. This year, he was the Knicks all-star. I haven't forgotten about his durability. And while his body language is certainly contagious, it feels toxic, I see that also as he really cares, which means a lot. I'm not upset if we move forward with him. I just am going to have much more tampered realistic expectations. And I know YouTube chats and shows love discussing potential trades, and I've thought about it too. But the NBA, let's all remember, is a salary capped business, meaning you can't just pick a player and say, ooh, that one would work well with Julius Randle. No, you got to match contracts. There are limitations with things like poison pills and bird rights, you name it. But is there a world, you want to talk about taking on an albatross type deal, bringing back a New York City kid and Karl Anthony Towns seems to be something both cases are interested in. You go Randall, you go Evan Fournier, you go Emmanuel Quickly, and a protected pick. Is that enough to get back Karl Anthony Towns and Taurean Prince? And is that something the Knicks even want? Because he would certainly complement Mitchell Robinson well, being a guy that operates from the outside in. He likes shooting threes for some reason, but he's good at it. Would he fit in a little bit better as opposed to Julius Randle at that cost? Because that's ultimately what it's going to take.
For Towns, I would have to think, it's hard to think about. It's hard to know what they're thinking. I would have to think they want to replenish all the draft picks they lost in the Rudy Gobert trade, which, they probably should have, polled the NBA before pulling the trigger on that deal, because I have no idea what they're thinking. But I would have to imagine it starts there with getting unprotected picks back so that they can rebuild around Anthony Edwards. But, look, I think Towns obviously could help offensively and give you that full floor spacing that you need. But there's two things that make me leery to get him. Number one, the durability. That's one thing with Julius. You know that from the preseason straight through, he's going to be there for you. Now, he did come up with a ankle injury, which anybody could have gotten, right? So, but durability, he's been there for the Knicks year in and year out. And then defensively, when you're already trying to figure out how to hide Jalen Brunson, because let's be honest, offensively he's a dynamo. Defensively, it's just not there. I don't think he's ever going to be a great defender. So, but then having Towns out there as well, that's when I think things get tricky, man. Because you've got to be a true competitor. You got to be close to top 10 defensively in the league. And I just don't, if you put another defensive liability out there in the lineup, I don't see it. That's the thing with Towns. I just don't see them being strong there.
That would put a lot on the shoulders of Mitchell Robinson to continue to be that guy that has to make a decision. Do I help? Do I come over and contest? Because if you do that, you're giving up a tip slam to the guy that you were supposed to be guarding in the first place. And the way that Cat gets beat off the dribble on the perimeter, and you're running Mitchell Robinson and Cat together, Knicks are going to have a lot of Timberwolves problems that they currently have with Gobert and Cat being out there simultaneously against a speedy team with foot speed out there that have big guys that can move. It's just I'm not for or against it. It's more so just a conversation starter. And I'm more leaning towards sending Randall to like Atlanta if they would deal with us for John Collins. That could potentially benefit both sides, and DeAndre Hunters, if you will, or whatever numbers match there. But more of a complimentary piece, a guy that doesn't need the ball in his hands as much, doesn't stick when he gets it because Randall's going to turn, face, go isolation. That's not really John Collins' game, but he can still bring some toughness. I don't know. I'm just, again, thinking out loud. Yeah. But it'll be an interesting offseason. But it doesn't start until the Knicks re-sign Josh Hart for me. Listen, get that done.
Absolutely, man. Once again, we're talking to Rob Perez, the NBA report, CP the Fanchise here, and we are talking Knicks. One of the coaching changes that we didn't mention, but who's here is not here, but who's moving on is Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse going from the Raptors to the Philadelphia 76ers, man. So he's going from the North, and they were ready to run him out of town, man. Every Raptors content creator we brought on here, they compared him. His nickname was Nick Thibodeau up there in Toronto, if you didn't know. So I thought that was very interesting to learn. That was some revelations there. But now he's going into Philly, the belly of the beast, man. And he's taking on the Sixers. But listen to his comments in regards to James Harden, because I thought it was very interesting, man. Here's his comments from his press conference here.
You got to be better at the end of those 2 months. And
do you want James Harden back?
Pardon me?
Do you want James Harden back?
James Harden's a great player.
That didn't answer the question.
Well, I would say this is that James has a decision to make, and I'd be very happy if he came back.
I don't know who that was in the Philly beat. Pressed him heavy. You didn't answer the question. Nick Nurse said, "I beg your pardon, but non-committal on the Harden thing. I think he's a great player." What'd you think about
First
that?
of all, welcome to Philly.
Welcome.
Well, hey, Coach Nurse, welcome to Philly. You didn't answer the question, bro. Like, you got 90 seconds of honeymoon. Like, this is not Canada anymore.
No.
Hello. How are you?
No.
No, this is Philly. But yeah, until Harden makes a decision on whether he's going to be a 76er or a Rocket and at what terms, and Nurse is probably not going to ever answer that question, whether he likes him or not. But they can survive, I think, without him, and he knows that. So he's kind of just putting it out there that if Harden's a great player, if he's a part of this team, we'll figure out a way to use him. He's just being a politician there for a reason. If he really wanted Harden there, you would tell him, I hope he comes back.
Right.
You would have heard that at a Nurse's mouth.
Right.
I hope he comes back. I hope we can integrate him. He didn't say it. So therefore, I have to make my own assumptions.
Yeah, he's like, he's cool. But the thing is, though, if from what many are saying is a very good chance that he does bolt to Philly, are you all in on Embiid? If Embiid calls Leon and says, I'm ready to reunite with the camp, are you all in on Joel Embiid?
I mean, God, we need a whole nother show for Joel Embiid. I mean, he's the MVP. He's the MVP for a reason. I mean, he was dominant when he's on the court. How many years of prime Joel Embiid are left?
Well, that all depends on injuries, man. Because that's one
point.
thing that you can pencil in is a Joel Embiid injury at some point in the season. He's going to miss
That's my point.
time.
So are you trading your entire franchise? Are you going to continue to stock a guy that can only play 50-something games moving forward? His shelf life, he is a perishable item. This big man with this type of versatility, he's got an injury list longer than a CVS receipt. So that's not his fault. But don't take LeBron's durability for granted, that he can run 2+ decades as seamlessly. No one else can do that.
20
How many
years.
years left of this dominant form are we going to get? And therefore, if we're talking about potential trades and stuff like that, his market needs to incorporate those facets.
Yeah, no question about it, man. It's a complicated trade to make. Yes, it is the MVP. We know he's a talent. We know he's a guy that could. I think he could help the Knicks get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but it depends on the price. I mean, if you're going to look at gutting your entire team in a deal that's more, I think it'd be more than what Donovan Mitchell got for Utah. That's a tough trade to make, man. It's a very difficult trade. So we'll see how that goes down. But what would you say before we let you go here? Is there a player out there who's on your wish list as you look into free agency or potential trade targets? Is there a player out there? It could be a star, could be a role player, Josh Hart ilk. What do you think?
I mean, we're talking about needing another. God, but as long as RJ's on this damn roster, I know 20% of the usage is going to go his way. I want to bring Fred VanVleet in to play the RJ Barrett role, not the Randall role. But we can't. We're committed to RJ moving forward. So if you put Fred VanVleet out there alongside Brunson, Barrett, FVV, Mitchell Robinson, and then an Obi Toppin or whatever, like, damn, yeah. If I could put together a dream lineup without it costing us any assets and getting him in just strictly free agency, I would love nothing more. It's just not that easy. So I'm looking for another backcourt scorer that can take some of the pressure off of Brunson and Randall if Randall's going to be on the team. And I think FVV is a realistic candidate that qualifies for that.
Yeah, I think for me, they still need a wing, man. They still need a wing. A true 3-and-D wing, 6'6", 6'7" or better. Hart, I like Hart. He's cool. Grimes is cool, but a lot of times they're undersized there at the wing. You can never have enough wing depth. And I think they need to go out there and try to get one. The free agency market doesn't look all that good, just in terms of what they can afford. Obviously, they do have the assets where they can go out there and make a trade. We'll see what happens in the draft, but they definitely need to address some three-point shooting. On the cheaper side, you have a Seth Curry. I haven't said, hey, maybe even Alec Burks, who knows? But definitely some three-point shooting and some wing depth. That's where I'm going with. But, yeah, we'll see what happens. when free agency gets here, man. But great show. I know we coming up on time, man, but definitely great show. And yeah, man, we got to do this again, man. This was a great one.
Absolutely, my friend. It was a pleasure. We'll have a long off season to be trying to burn time. By the time it's August, we're going to be sitting here talking about, would you rather have 5 Obi Toppin sized Emmanuel Quickleys or 5 Emmanuel Quickly sized Obi Toppins? And then that's the type of discourse and conversation that it will be. We will be begging to have these type of lightning rod topics to discuss. So there'll be plenty of time.
Absolutely, man. Rob Perez, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, thanks again for coming on, man. We'll do it again sometime soon, man. Enjoy the West Coast.
Adios, man. Appreciate you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Rob Perez, man. Great show. Shout out to Worldwide Rob. Shout out to everybody for tapping in to the NBA report. And yeah, man, this is it, man. This is the new project that's been on the horizon, that's been in the planning stages for quite some time, ladies and gentlemen. KnicksFanTV is going nowhere, as you guys know. That is still home to the best Knicks channel out there, the best Knicks content out there. So we're going to continue to keep that rocking, man. You're going to continue to see the same faces and the same fire content. We're still going to be keeping it going. But the aspirations was always to expand this thing into covering the NBA at large, and that's what we're doing here with the NBA report. We're going to be doing daily shows. We're going to be doing game breakdowns, special guest interviews. We're going to be broadening the interview spectrum as well, not just Knicks, but people from all over the basketball world. So we're going to be doing that. We'll have our draft content. Our draft content will be here on the NBA report as well. The Rhyme Animal Chuck D will be joining us on Monday. Corey Talaba of No Ceilings Podcast will be joining us on Monday. My guy Rafael Barlow is waiting in the wings to talk draft as well. So we're going to have a number of great guests, man. We're going to have some great content. So I need you guys to jump on the wave, man, especially you guys watching on KnicksFanTV. Jump over on NBA Report. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Comment on these videos. Because just like KnicksFanTV's rise, it is through your support why we were able... Well, it is through your support why this channel will be able to grow in the way that I feel like it will grow, man. But we need your support. Especially, I've been telling you guys on KnicksFanTV, like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are very important. And listen, man, we can do this ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things that I'm always encouraged about, especially when doing KnicksFanTV and getting you some of your messages, is a lot of people say, CP, we want to see you on a big stage. We want to see you on ESPN. We want to see you on the Knicks channel. We want to see you there. They say that. And it's always encouraging. It's very humbling. But we also got to change our mindsets up here, people, to understand that we could do this ourselves. We can be just as big as those platforms. We can be even better than those platforms, but it takes your support. We're on the verge. We're going to go out there and make history, man. We're going to go out there and make history as a grassroots movement, and we're going to build this thing brick by brick, subscriber by subscriber, view by view, comment by comment, like by like. We're going to do this thing out the mud. It's going to be straight grit and grind. So I'm looking forward to it. I've been doing KnicksFanTV this is going to be year number 7. Year number 6. It's going to be year number 6 for KnicksFanTV and year number 1 for the NBA report. So just like, we took our time and built it up, we're going to do this the same way here. So continue to support. Shout out to the team. Shout out to Gamba for the layout, man. Layout looking crispy. Shout out to TM. TM been springing into action to get us up to speed with the new channel. Shout out to Alex, man. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Tyler. Tyler's been plugging away on the social media and the reels. So a team effort once again the same team that it took to build up KnicksFanTV is going to be the same team building up the NBA report, man. We're just going to keep it rolling. And again, we appreciate everybody's support in helping us accomplish our goals, man. So continue to tap in. Once again, shout out to my guy, Rob Perez. Monday, the Rhyme Animal Chuck D joins us right here on the NBA Report. We'll recap Game 2 of the NBA Finals, and then Corey Talaba for the nightcap. And we'll take your questions on the NBA Draft. So once again, like, comment, share, subscribe, And remember, man, we're going to do this ourselves. The number one show for the fans, by the fans. We're not waiting on anybody to give us a turn, to give us a chance. We're going to go out there and take it ourselves. And so I hope that you guys out there watching will do it on your own terms. Do your thing. Do what it is that you aspire to do in life, man. Take a leap, take a jump. You only live once. You don't have to make content. Whatever it is that you aspire to do, whatever it is that you're passionate about in life, take the leap, take the jump, and take a chance. This is what I'm doing right now. And I appreciate everybody's support in that quest. All right? Have a great weekend, everybody. Great show to kick things off. NBA Report, KnicksFanTV, CP the Fanchise.